we're going to start on our project. And our project is ultimately we're going to create a sword in a stone with some leaves and moss around it. And I've got a rough drawing here that I'm going to use as the start. And we're going to model it in pieces. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to ultimately zoom kind of out, and I'm going to make a big board here. Okay, clicking on the plane, click and drag, and that'll create that plane. We can hit zoom extends all, and that'll kind of zoom in there. Again, I don't like working with grids too much unless I specifically need them, so I'm going to just subtract that. Now, we're going to use the material editor to bring in this material, and the material editor comes in two different ways. The first way is ultimately the compact editor, and then there's a slate editor. So this is the slate editor, and if I go to compact editor, it's going to look like this. Now, this may be a little bit more useful to some people, but most 3D packages and materials use the slate style editor. So we're going to go with that. Now, we're going to be working with the standard surface for now, just to kind of create this in there. Actually, let's go instead and we're going to switch renderers, because the renderers that most people use are a little bit more higher production than the standard render. So I'm going to click on this button here. It's going to bring up the scanline render settings. Render setup, scanline render. So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to go down to Arnold here. And Arnold is what most people use for the default engine. And then you can see that these are my render sizes and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to get too much into this until we render it out for you. But we're going to make sure that this is Arnold, and we're going to hit the X to get out of that. Now, you'll notice when I change that, this changed here. You have now materials, and then you have Arnold materials, okay? And then you have maps, and you have Arnold maps. Now, I'm going to click this, and instead of like going and hunting here, you can click and drag these over, but it turns into a lot of hunting. Instead of doing that, what we're going to do is right click in the empty spot. A material is ultimately a whole object put together. So it would be your shininess, your diffuse, we'll get into that a little bit later, shininess, diffuse, all of that information. It would be the complete map, whereas a map is just part of a material. So what we're going to do is material, Arnold, and surface, and we're going to go to standard surface. That is generally the first and foremost thing that we use here. Okay, now standard material. Seems like a lot of information. Honestly, it is. If you double click, that information will pop up here with a whole lot of even more settings. Don't get intimidated by it. We're going to just change a couple things and keep it simple. So the next thing I'm going to do is right click, Maps, General, Bitmap. And it's going to pop up this window here, and I'm going to have to go find what I'm doing. So let's go into 3ds Max, and this is a picture of my sword. Okay, so I'm going to click on my picture of my sword, and I'm going to see that this map here, and I'm going to just double click this little ball so you can see what's going on. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this map to this object. Now we can do it a couple different ways. The one way is simply grabbing this, dragging it over there, and putting it on there. Another way is right clicking and say assign material selection. You'll notice when I do, it changes. Now you can see here that this basically moves like so, and it changed color into white. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this, and I'm going to change this to base color. So once I do, you can see that I've got that image there. Okay, it's stretched, but ultimately it's kind of what we need right now. The next thing I'm going to do is, sometimes when you're moving around, everything's really shiny. So I'm going to take the specular, which is the shininess, and I'm going to set that to 0 and hit OK. You'll notice when I do, you can see that little highlight goes away. So if when I hit 0, it goes away. Awesome. Now what I'm going to do is, if you can't see this, so I'm just going to move this off screen so you don't have to look at it. But if you can't see this, all right, if for some reason that material isn't being shown, what you can do is, one, try toggling the F3. So F3 will change that back, so you can see bam, 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 bam. Okay, so if that's the case, that's probably your issue right there, and you just need to show that. Okay. And then the other thing too is, if you look, everything that's got a red mark on there. So if I go show shaded material in viewport, I right clicked on this and I uncheck that, it says that ultimately it won't show that viewport here. If I right click here and say show material shaded in viewport, you can see that it disappears. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to show the preview. Now I don't need all this stuff here, so I'll actually go here, show shaded. So I don't need all this stuff. I can uncheck this, so I can uncheck this, and then I can check this, and it'll still show up. So this is showing as a whole material. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is again move this off screen, or you can minimize it. So now you can see here that I've got this thing, this drawing sitting here, but one, it's not in the right direction, and two, it's just kind of, it's all stretched. It's not what we want.